All right, everyone, welcome to another deep dive. And today we are going to be looking at parts of speech.
The building blocks of language.
Exactly. Yeah, and we've got a couple of sources here, a simple note, and then another document simply titled Parts of Speech. And by the end of this, we should be able to look at any word and say, okay, this is this type of word.
Yeah, you'll be able to identify them in sentences too.
Right. And even beyond that, just, start to see how these things matter.
Absolutely, because they impact how we communicate, how we understand what we read, how we write ourselves.
So much more than you think.
It is, yeah, it's really foundational.
Okay, so let's start, I guess, with something basic, like a noun.
Oh, yeah,
Noun.
nouns.
Words for things, right?
People, places, things, ideas, all of that.
But there's more to it than that, right?
Oh, absolutely, because think about it, we use them all the time.
Every sentence.
Yeah, like even the last text message you sent was probably full of nouns.
I'm sure.
You know, and every single one of those was doing something, was communicating some kind of meaning and playing a specific role in that sentence.
So like, okay, in our source material, we see the word Ali,
Right away, we know we're talking about a person.
a person,
Yeah, but nouns can also be more than that, right? They can be abstract,
abstract nouns.
like happiness.
Those always trip me up a little bit.
Me too.
It's like you can't see them.
Right, it's like trying to grab onto smoke or something.
Exactly.
But even though we can't physically touch happiness, it's still a thing, right? It's a concept, it's a feeling.
It's a noun.
It is, and recognizing that helps us see what it's doing in the sentence.
Okay, so nouns are like the base,
The foundation, yeah.
but then we need to build on that.
And that's where pronouns come in.
Our source material says they're basically stand-ins for nouns,
Exactly, like little shortcuts, so we don't have to keep repeating ourselves.
which is good because
Yes, can you imagine?
my sentences would be so long,
They would be novels.
like, he, she, it, all of
See?
those.
Exactly, they
Yeah.
just make things flow so much better.
So we've got our people, places, things, our nouns, we've got our stand-ins, the pronouns. But language is not just about, static stuff.
It needs action,
Yes, verbs.
the action words.
And our source gives the example of run. But I feel like there's more to verbs than that.
Well, for sure, because verbs aren't always about like physical running around,
They can be much more subtle.
Like they can describe states of being or emotions.
So something like to become,
Exactly, or to yearn.
to hesitate.
Yeah, all of those are verbs, even though they're not as active as run.
And I think that's so interesting how you can kind of change the whole feel of something that you're writing just based on what types of verbs you choose.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's like, are you
Like
painting with bright, bold colors, or are you using more muted tones?
Exactly. And so we've got the nouns, we've got the verbs, and then how do we make that even more vivid?
We add some detail.
We add adjectives.
Yes.
And our source material gives some good examples. Beautiful, tall, happy.
And it's amazing how just adding one of those words can completely transform a sentence.
Yeah, like a house is just a house.
But a ramshackle abandoned house.
That's a whole different story.
Exactly. Suddenly there's mystery, there's intrigue.
Absolutely. And so we can't forget about adverbs.
Adverbs.
And the example from our source is quickly.
And those often tell us, how something's happening or when or where.
Yeah, they sneak in there and give us a little bit more information.
Like, let's take that Ollie again.
Okay.
Ollie ran.
Okay.
But if we add an adverb, Ali ran quickly,
Yeah.
now we have a better sense of exactly how she was running.
It paints a clearer picture.
It does. And I think a lot of times adverbs are the things that people kind of throw in without thinking too much about them.
Yeah, I think that's true.
But when you start to pay attention to them, you realize they're doing a lot of work.
They really are all right. How about prepositions?
Oh, prepositions.
These I always mix up.
Yeah, they can be tricky.
Like our source gives the examples on, in, at,
So simple.
right? But why are those so hard?
Well, I think what's interesting about prepositions is that they show the relationship between words.
Relationship.
Yeah, like think about the book is on the table.
Yeah?
That little word on tells us exactly where that book is.
It shows us how the book and the table are connected.
Exactly. And without that preposition, the sentence wouldn't make as much sense.
Okay, so it's all about context.
It is.
And speaking of connecting things, conjunctions,
Conjunctions.
like the bridges of our sentences.
Yes, they link things together. They help everything flow.
And but, because
All of those allow us to create more complex sentences, to express more nuanced thoughts.
to show how different ideas relate to each other.
Exactly. And that's how we get beyond just, simple subject, verb, object sentences.
And then finally, we have interjections.
Ah, yes, those bursts of emotion.
Wow.
Exactly. Or ouch.
Sometimes you don't even think about them.
You just blurt them out.
Have you noticed that you use certain interjections more than others, or like in specific situations?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think everyone does. It's almost like a reflex, you know?
Yeah, and they're so powerful.
They are because they cut through all the logical stuff and just go straight for the emotional impact.
Sometimes a wow is all you need.
Exactly. It can be more powerful than a whole paragraph of explanation.
So there you have it, everyone. Parts of speech.
The building blocks of language.
We've got our nouns, our pronouns, our verbs,
Adjectives, adverbs, prepositions, conjunction.
interjections even.
It's like a whole toolkit for communication.
And the cool thing is now that, these parts of speech, you can start to see them everywhere.
Oh, yeah, in books and articles and conversations even.
Pay attention to how different writers use them.
Yeah.
Do they use a lot of adjectives, or are they more focused on verbs?
What kind of effect does that have on you as a reader?
It's really fascinating.
It is. It's like having X-ray vision for language.
Exactly. Everyone will keep exploring, and most importantly, have fun with words.
Absolutely, because language is a powerful tool, and the more you understand it, the more effectively you can use it.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.